This is Eaglesham Parish Church, and it's the medieval village is round about it. Eaglesham is derived from two words: Eagle, the Gaelic word for church, and ham, an Anglo-Saxon word for village or township. Just look at the workmanship in these old iron gates here. The earliest reference to the church town, or Kirkton, of Eaglesham is AD 1165, and the church and village are thought to date from the reign of King David I, 1124-1158. The original church was originally a stone-built building, similar to the medieval turf or thatched roof. Would latterly have been replaced with slate and the earth floor tiled. In 1741 the windows were glassed at a cost of 6 shillings and 10 pence. The old house, which looks like an old toll house or a toll gate at a church or a bridge, is not what it actually is, and in most cases in churches in Scotland, is the grave robber's watch hut, or shed as they called it. In 1882 the building was remodelled in its present six-sided form, and for the last 8.5 centuries a succession of churches have embodied the Christian faith as a mother church of Eaglesham. Let's look at the workmanship in these beautiful stained glass windows. This kirk has a very close association with the Covenanters. The Covenanters were those Christians in Scotland who refused to subscribe to the belief of the Stuart kings that the spiritual head of the Scottish Church was the king, the divine right of the monarch. The Scots recognised only one head of the kirk, and that was Jesus Christ. Many signed the National Covenant in 1638, and from then until 1688, persecutions and punishments of all kinds, fines, tortures, executions, murder and transportation were the weapons used in an attempt to quell this conflict. The memorial obelisk you see in front of you commemorates the death of two local men, Robert Lockhart and Gabriel Thompson, who had attended a conventicle or open-air religious service on Tuesday the 5th of May 1685 in Eaglesham Moor. On returning home they were met by a party of Highland dragoons and both were shot. Their bodies were later interred in the parish kirkyard. Who said Harrods was the first revolving door? The improvement in the road system after 1790 facilitated traffic to and from Eaglesham. The Eglinton Arms was built in 1835 and the Orry. Stagecoaches, notably the Britannia, operated every Wednesday and Saturday mornings at 9 AM and returned from number 44 Stockwell Street, Glasgow at 5 PM. When the Caledonian Railway Company constructed the railway from Glasgow to Busby in 1866, a horse-drawn bus connected Clarkston Station with Eaglesham. The first motor bus service started in 1906, running from Eaglesham to Clarkston and Cathcart stations. And in the mid-1920s, Sanderson Brothers organised a regular bus service to Clyde Street in Glasgow. The sewer milk cart, a feature of transport in Old Eaglesham, was the milk carts carrying sweet and sour milk to Glasgow from Eaglesham. A popular folk song was written in 1890 by Glaswegian Tom Johnson, who spent his weekends in Eaglesham. It was called the Sewer Milk Cart. The chorus runs: "Wi' her cheeks as red as roses and her een sae bonny blue, glancing entrancing, they pierce me through and through. She fairly won my fancy and she stole a warm my heart, driving into Glasgow with my sour milk cart." Look how picturesque this is. Is this the side of Eaglesham that not so much traffic is on? And what a gem, what a beautiful place, lovely. After the end of World War II in 1945, many of the village properties were empty and derelict. The completion of the County Council housing scheme amalgamated dereliction, and by 1956 32 houses were condemned as unfit and 11 gap sites were very evident. A preservation society was formed in 1956 in order to encourage the restoration and preservation of Eaglesham, with the object of retaining the character of the village. The Earl of Eglinton agreed to become president of the society. Thereafter, a restoration joint committee was established to represent the interests of the whole community. A lengthy campaign began to list the village as a place of historic interest. The operation involved a major survey and culminated in the whole village being graded as Category A in August 1960. This recognition was the first of its kind to be awarded in the whole of Scotland. In May 1969, the village celebrated the bicentenary of its formation as a planned village. Polnoon Lodge was restored to its former Georgian glory in 1971, and on Monday 24th of April 1972 a time capsule was ceremonially interred below the memorial stone. This is Polnoon Lodge. A new hunting lodge was built here in 1733 when Polnoon Castle was abandoned by the Montgomery family. This property includes stables and the old carriage house. Eaglesham is basically the jewel in the crown of Scotland's most attractive planned villages. The restoration is continual, and there is an amazing pride in the people in this village of its amazing heritage. Now, one of the most historic events that ever happened in Eaglesham is something that happened in more recent times. The crashing of a plane nearby by Rudolf Hess.
His term was a ploughman, he was a ploughman. David McLean was his name.
David McLean? Right, so David McLean basically was the old guy who was a farmhand.
Aye, he was a
And
ploughman.
he actually found, there was a parachute and everything here, is that right? Obviously.
Aye.
And this is the
That's
exact
was- it was a
spot, the
potato
exact
field
spot
at the
here
time.
where he, and it was a potato field at the time.
That's
And that's the exact spot there
Aye.
that Hess landed.
Aye.
And he would take him into his cottage, and that's
Yeah.
the cottage just
Just behind the
that just
hedge
one
there,
behind
aye.
that hedge there.
Yeah.
And was he in there for any length of time?
I think he was only been there for an hour or two.
An hour or so.
The police came.
And the
Or
police
home
came
guard
and got him from that cottage.
Yeah.
They took him to the cottage, and your father was the actual farmer. Your grandfather was a farmer.
Grandfather was in the house, the farmhouse.
His name is
Basil Beard.
Basil Beard.
Yeah.
And you're the... Start to think that this insignificant piece of stone here, put here by the farmer only hours after Hess had arrived, is the actual spot where that historic event happened. The plane continued another mile or so and crashed at the top of the hill, about 2 fields away. Now, the thing about there's an old farmhand came. He never had any weapons on him, but he had a pitchfork. And he came up to Hess. Hess took his shoe off and he marched him into this cottage over here. And he held him there for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And I think about half of Glasgow and Paisley by that time had heard about it and come up. And the Home Guard took him away down to, I think it was Busby. And this is the spot. And of course this would exactly just be the same as it was in the days that the old farmman brought Hess in. At pitchfork, end of his pitchfork. There'll be bluebirds over the white cliffs of Dover tomorrow.
We chiefs in red and rosy, her in bonny and blue, dancing and glancing, she pierced me through.